Two people can experience the exact same pain and leave completely different. One person becomes wiser, stronger, more emotionally grounded. The other becomes bitter, closed off, emotionally destroyed by what happened. So what creates the difference? Why does suffering deepen some people while breaking others apart? Because here's the truth nobody talks about. Pain does not automatically make you stronger. Pain can strengthen you, but it can also harden you. It can create wisdom or emotional damage, and the direction your suffering takes often depends on something invisible, how you interpret it. Today we're diving into the psychology of resilience. Why some people transform pain into power, while others become trapped inside it. We'll explore the hidden mental habits that determine whether suffering becomes growth or emotional collapse. And throughout this video, we'll draw insights from two exceptional books, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Because the strongest people are rarely people who avoided hardship. They are people who learned how to survive hardship without losing themselves. The people who turn pain into power know this secret. Suffering doesn't change everyone the same way. Pain is universal. Everyone experiences loss, failure, heartbreak, rejection, fear, uncertainty. But suffering affects people differently. Some people become more compassionate after pain. Others become emotionally numb. Some people use adversity to grow. Others stay psychologically trapped in the moment that hurt them. Why? Because pain itself is not the deciding factor. Meaning is. Viktor Frankl understood this deeply. In Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl describes surviving concentration camps during one of the darkest periods in human history. And what he discovered changed modern psychology forever. He observed that people who maintained meaning, a reason to continue, were often more mentally resilient, not because their suffering was smaller, but because their suffering had psychological direction. Frankl famously wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." That sentence explains resilience better than almost anything else. Mentally strong people eventually stop asking, "Why is life doing this to me?" and begin asking, "What can this experience teach me?" That shift transforms pain. Because suffering without meaning creates despair, but suffering with meaning can create transformation, and that's where growth begins. Mentally strong people refuse to build an identity around suffering. One of the most dangerous things pain can do is become your identity. Some people experience hardship and slowly begin defining themselves through it. I'm broken. I'm unlucky. I'll never recover. I'm damaged forever. And over time, the pain becomes fused with who they believe they are. But resilient people separate identity from experience. This distinction changes everything psychologically. Because your brain adapts to the story you repeatedly tell yourself, if you constantly reinforce helplessness, your behavior eventually follows. But mentally strong people say, "I experienced failure," instead of, "I am a failure." That difference may sound small, but psychologically it's massive, because experiences are temporary, identity feels permanent, and people behave according to what they believe they are. David Goggins talks about this in Can't Hurt Me. He describes growing up surrounded by abuse, fear, racism, and emotional hardship. But instead of permanently identifying himself through suffering, he decided to rebuild himself mentally. Not overnight, but gradually, through discipline, accountability, pain tolerance, and relentless self-confrontation. His story reveals something important. Your past may influence you, but it does not have to imprison you. Mentally strong people refuse to let pain become their final identity. Resilience is built through small decisions, not big motivational moments. Most people think mentally strong people suddenly become resilient during dramatic moments, but resilience is usually built quietly, through small decisions repeated consistently. Getting out of bed when you don't feel like it, going to therapy, taking responsibility for your healing, choosing discipline over emotional impulse, continuing after rejection, trying again after embarrassment. These moments seem ordinary, but psychologically, they create momentum. David Goggins calls this callousing the mind. Just like physical calluses develop through repeated friction, mental resilience develops through repeated discomfort. Every time you survive difficulty, your brain gains evidence. I can handle hard things. And that evidence slowly changes identity. This is why emotionally strong people are not fearless. They simply stop allowing discomfort to control every decision. Because growth requires emotional friction. Comfort rarely transforms people. Challenge does. And the people who grow through suffering eventually understand this. Strength is not built when life is easy. It's built when life becomes difficult and you continue anyway. Modern culture often teaches people to expect constant comfort, constant happiness, constant ease. So when hardship appears, people feel shocked, almost betrayed by life. But mentally resilient people accept a difficult truth. Pain is part of being human. Not because life is cruel, but because growth, change, uncertainty, and loss are unavoidable. This acceptance creates psychological flexibility. Resilient people stop asking, "How do I avoid all suffering?" and begin asking, "How do I become stronger within suffering?" That shift changes emotional stability completely. Because resistance often intensifies pain, acceptance creates clarity. This doesn't mean enjoying suffering. It means understanding reality. Every meaningful life includes difficulty. Every strong person has scars. And often, the people who appear calm today are people who survived storms nobody else saw. That's why mentally strong people rarely expect life to be perfect. They expect challenges. And because they expect them, they adapt faster when difficulties arrive. People who grow through pain find purpose beyond themselves. One of the most powerful psychological discoveries about resilience is this. People endure suffering better when their pain serves something meaningful. A mission, a family, a future, a purpose bigger than temporary emotion. Viktor Frankl believed meaning was one of the strongest psychological survival tools humans possess, because purpose creates direction, and direction creates endurance. This is why many resilient people transform their pain into contribution. They help others, share lessons, build something meaningful, create purpose from struggle. And psychologically, this changes suffering, because pain feels far heavier when it seems meaningless. But when pain becomes part of growth, it gains direction. This is why many people later say, "My hardest season changed me forever." Not because suffering was enjoyable, but because suffering forced transformation. It clarified priorities, built perspective, revealed strength they didn't know they had, and sometimes the darkest chapters become the beginning of the strongest version of yourself. True strength is not hardness, it's flexibility. Many people misunderstand resilience. They think mentally strong people never cry, never struggle, never feel overwhelmed. But true resilience is not emotional numbness, it's emotional flexibility. The ability to feel pain without becoming consumed by it. The ability to fall apart temporarily and rebuild. The ability to stay open-hearted after disappointment. Because becoming completely hardened by suffering is not strength, it's survival mode. Real mental strength means remaining human without becoming hopeless. It means protecting your peace without losing your compassion. And it means understanding that pain can shape you without destroying who you are. So remember this, pain alone does not determine who you become. Your response to pain does. The people who grow through suffering usually face pain honestly, refuse to build identity around hardship, and develop resilience through small actions. They also accept difficulty as part of life and create meaning from struggle. Because the strongest people are not people who never suffered. They are people who learn how to suffer without surrendering themselves completely. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Mindset Bloom for more content on psychology, emotional intelligence, resilience, and self-mastery. And comment below what painful experience taught you the most about yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.